The New York Rangers had a big opening night against the Pittsburgh Penguins in Pittsburgh, 6-0 on Wednesday. Tonight, they were in the Garden for the home opener. They raised the banners. Sam Rosen's last home opener. And look, even referee Wes McCauley giving a shout out to Sam Rosen from the ice. And matter of fact, Sam Rosen even got the game puck that started the opening faceoff tonight. So the New York Rangers hosting the Utah Hockey Club that started off 2-0 so far this season. Guys like Dylan Guenther and Clayton Keller are having pretty good start to the season. And they look like a different team compared to what the Rangers saw back on March 30th when they were the Arizona Coyotes. Rangers beat them 8-5 that night. And matter of fact, had a 6-game winning streak going into tonight's game. But here's the deal. Utah is not Arizona. And matter of fact, they showed it almost immediately from the get-go. Barrett Hayton scored within the first 4 minutes of the game to give Utah a 1-0 lead. Now, Laviolette got on the guys because they just weren't fast enough to the puck. And they got the message because not long after, we end up seeing the high leg kick from the bread man. Artemi Panarin ends up scoring to tie the game at 1. Rangers seem to have the momentum going into the second period. But once again, Utah, scrappy as ever, McBain scores to make it a 2-1 game. But the Rangers hanging in there, and they get the bread man going again. His second of the game. Rangers tied the game at 2. Then we have a very interesting situation that pops up just minutes after the Panarin goal. And it's really what happened in front of the net. So Victor Mancini was at the point, took a shot. It gets past Connor Ingram, the goaltender for Utah, but Wes McCauley calls it no goal right off the bat. Rangers challenged. Now, even though Ingram moved forward and actually pushed into Matt Rempe, as you see in the image here, Matt Rempe is the one who's screening on the play. It looked like Ingram actually skated to the top of the crease and actually pressed in against Rempe, and the shot went past Ingram. But despite the fact that Ingram initiated the contact, Wes McCauley said that Rempe's skates were in the blue, and he decided to disallow the goal. So Mancini will have to wait for another chance at his first NHL goal. Now, let us look at disallowed goals. This is your goaltender interference stuff. They're disallowed when the attacker's position stops the goalie from moving inside the crease or defending the net. And I guess this is more of what it's all about in terms of what McCauley said Rempe did. But it's still a pretty tough call to make. Now, this is not the only time in the period that goaltender interference becomes part of the deal here. So I'm putting these up here so it's a little bit of a reference point for you. Any contact with the goalie inside the crease, even accidental, or if the goalie initiates contact that impairs their movement. Now, we'll come back to that, but let's take a look at what goes on after that disallowed goal. Well, Clayton Keller ends up getting on the board. And again, like I said, he's had a pretty good season so far. So now Utah is up by a goal. And then Stenlund ends up scoring from the wing on the short side of Shesterkin. And that ends up being somewhat costly because Stenlund's follow-through on his shot, his stick blade actually hit Braden Schneider in the face, and Schneider had to head to the locker room after that. So, insult to injury, Rangers are now down by 2 goals. Then, a rather interesting development. So, the Rangers are down by 2 goals. Miller's got the puck in center ice. He dumps the puck in. Ingram goes behind the net. The puck takes a weird carom off the boards in the corner. and goes straight into the net. Probably the most interesting goal that K'Andre Miller has ever scored. But it brings the Rangers back to within a goal. And then all hell breaks loose on the ice. So we end up with two fights, one involving Sam Carrick, and then a second one starts up involving Adam Edstrom, who happens to be celebrating his 24th birthday today, and McBain, who scored the goal earlier in the period. And because of the new rules, because they're trying to eliminate line brawls, Edstrom and McBain are both given game misconducts. So now they're a forward short on both sides. And then, as I said, we had goaltender interference come into play again. Now, Cooley ends up making a great rush up the ice. Sergachev's defending against them. They bump into each other. And then Cooley happens to bump into someone he didn't expect. Connor Ingram. Connor Ingram came way out of his net trying to stop the rush. And Cooley ends up colliding with him. McCauley calls Cooley for goaltender interference. Yeah, that was a pretty tough call right there. And, of course, as you would expect, Murphy's Law of Hockey, I suppose, the Rangers end up paying the price on the board as Dylan Guenther ends up scoring. But no, don't fear, because the Rangers hanging with it, staying with it. Braden Schneider ends up coming back to the bench, back on the ice, and ends up scoring a goal to bring the Rangers within one at the end of the second period. Then we go to the third period. The Rangers dominated in the third period, and they end up getting a reward for all their effort. Adam Fox ends up shooting the puck on the net. It actually goes off of Cooley's leg, and they had like a couple really solid shifts right before then that really kept the pressure on Utah on their end, and Cooley ends up getting credit for the goal. But unfortunately, this night did not end well for the New York Rangers, as Clayton Keller ends up scoring the game winner in overtime. It was a pretty contentious overtime. Matter of fact, prior to Keller's goal, Shesterkin makes one of the best saves of the game on a breakaway possibility, on not rush, I should say. But Keller ended up getting left alone in front of Shesterkin by Mika Zibanejad and by K'Andre Miller. And K'Andre actually, even going back to the Barrett Hayton goal in the first period that started scoring for the game, it was a giveaway by K'Andre Miller that ended up costing the Rangers on that play, and there was some miscommunication in that 3-on-3 overtime that led to the win goal. So plain and simple, what did we learn from all this? Well, the Rangers definitely have to look at it this way. They've got to tighten up on defense, that's for sure. Obviously, they had a great night against Pittsburgh, but Utah is not Pittsburgh. Utah was faster, grittier, and really the Rangers seemed to have a big problem getting to the puck whenever it was coming from in behind the net. So Utah really did use that to their advantage. They really got in deep, and they worked the puck towards the slot. They worked the puck towards the point, and the Rangers just seemed to have an issue catching up with that. But again, the pairings are new. I mean, whether you talk about Fox or Miller, but especially when you talk about Trouba and Schneider, and you got to talk about Mika as well. Mika had a great night in the faceoff circle, but did not have a good night. -4 for Mika Zibanejad tonight. So Rangers really got to tighten up on defense. Their offense is great, 11 goals in their first 2 games, but the defense is really lacking, especially tonight. And they are going to face tougher teams than the Utah Hockey Club, so they've got some work to do. It's only game 2 of 82 for sure, but they've got some work to do. That is without a doubt. So the next game for the New York Rangers comes up on Monday when they face the Detroit Red Wings. Dylan Larkin and Lucas Raymond and all those guys. Should be an interesting game, and we'll see what the Rangers make.